Well, hello. I want to bring you an update on the life of Christopher Newport University. This is our 5th week of classes on campus. Fortunately, the number of active virus cases is still small. We report the number of active cases each workday on our dashboard, which is located on our website and available to everyone in the CNU community and beyond. Campus Clear, our symptom screener, is completed daily by all of us, students, faculty, and staff, to identify anyone who might have a fever or symptoms related to the virus. To what can we attribute our success to date when so many other schools have had huge problems? Well, months of careful, thoughtful planning by a marvelous array of faculty and staff that put in place protocols and programs to reduce risk. And I'm so grateful to my colleagues who worked throughout the summer to prepare us for this fall. What else? I think the fact that most of our students live on campus is important. So many of the schools that have had problems have their students living throughout communities. Students living on our campus, we can at least provide a little more encouragement and oversight. Also, I want to thank our students and our faculty and staff. We have a marvelous campus culture where people know each other and truly care about each other and go the extra mile for each other. And that, I believe, has contributed immensely to our success to date. Well, let's talk finances. In June, Christopher Newport froze tuition and fees, room and board, the only Virginia public institution to do so. It was the right thing to do. We also adopted a very conservative budget, facing the uncertainties of COVID-19. Let me tell you how we did that. We assumed that we'd have a smaller freshman class, 1,150 students instead of 1,200. And we based our revenue projections on a very conservative enrollment estimate. We assumed there'd be no additional funding from the state, and we were correct. We set aside a total of $2 million in contingency funds for academics and auxiliary enterprises. We imposed a hiring freeze and suspended all university travel. We reset the temperature in our buildings to achieve significant savings over the summer. We assumed the Ferguson Center would remain dark with no scheduled performances this fall. And fortunately, we received $4.5 million in federal funding, which partially offset the revenue losses that we incurred when we rebated spring room and board, and also paid for the supplies and the materials necessary to get our campus ready for reopening. I'm pleased to report that these actions have served us well. Unlike several of our sister institutions, we have not had to cut salaries, impose furloughs, or make across-the-board budget cuts. Thankfully, our fall enrollment has remained amazingly stable. Our fall headcount is 4,868 students, only 51 students fewer than last fall. That's incredible. And let me tell you about our new class of captains. Our freshman class is a bit smaller at 1,155 students, and they have academic quality that is impressive, with an average high school GPA of 3.87, an amazingly impressive group of young men and women. The percent of students of color in our freshman class has increased this year to 23.1%, the highest percent in a decade. The total number of students of color on campus has increased from 1,031 to 1,097, which is 22.5%, of our campus community. We have 460 students in the President's Leadership Program, our largest PLP class ever. And there are 124 students in our honors program. 151 students in our freshman class are legacies, including 84 siblings. Now, students are not only coming, but they're flourishing on our campus. Our freshman to sophomore retention rate for all students is 87.2%. In the world of higher education, that's an atmospheric number, and that's 3% higher than the year before. The 2020 retention rate for our Black students is even higher, 91%. Our four-year graduation rate is 69% versus 66% last year. That's one of the highest four-year graduation rates among all 572 public four-year colleges and universities in America. The six-year graduation rate for all students is 80%. Remarkable number. Our students are successful after graduation as well. Each year we do a survey following the graduation of each class to find out exactly how they're faring. Well, the most recent survey shows that 97% of our most recent graduates are employed full-time or in graduate school full-time within 6 months of graduation. That number is 8 to 18% higher than all of our peer schools. Let's talk about new construction. Over the course of the last 2 decades, we've completed well over $1 billion of capital construction and built a spectacularly beautiful campus, rated as one of the most beautiful college campuses in America. Most of that construction is now behind us. But this year, we completed President's Hall, our newest residence for students. It's opened on time, and it houses 79 juniors and seniors. The new Fine Arts Center is quickly taking shape and will be completed in the spring of 2021. The Fine Arts Center stands beside the Ferguson Center for the Performing Arts. 2 magnificent buildings, and they were joined by this sweeping colonnade envisioned by I.M. Pei, the great architect who did the pyramid at the Louvre, in the East Building of the National Gallery of Art in Washington, the Holocaust Museum, the Bank of China that stands above the harbor in Hong Kong. The Fine Arts Center will bring an explosion of color and creativity to this campus and contribute powerfully to the cultural and economic success of this community and this Commonwealth. Now, success in this community, success in our Commonwealth, also requires equity and social justice. Sparked by the killings of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor and so many others, this has been a time of pain and protest. Many of our students have marched. Many of us have joined our students in calling for change. We have a duty to hear our students' voices, to see their fears, and to help in their struggle. To that end, I asked Dr. Angela Springer to serve as Christopher Newport's first Chief Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Officer, to ensure that every member of this college community would feel seen, safe, and valued. Dr. Springer and I are engaging the university community in launching and implementing the Strategic Plan for Diversity and Inclusion, recently adopted by our Council on Diversity and Inclusion, which is composed of 25 members, reflecting the rich array of minds and hearts involved and active in the Christopher Newport community, and chaired by Sheriff Gabe Morgan, a distinguished member of our Board of Visitors. Together, we're implementing a series of community conversations already underway about the Black experience, racism, and inequity in housing, education, healthcare, jobs, and other institutions. We plan a training program on racism and the importance of diversity and inclusion and equity for all students, faculty, and staff. We're working with our provosts, deans, and faculty to develop curricular and co-curricular opportunities for our students to better understand the importance of racial equity and how to affect change as they lead and serve and engage in our community. And of course, to recruit, to engage and retain faculty, staff, and students of color. Moreover, we plan to hold meaningful programming to consider the life and legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King and how we can carry on his important work. As a member of the United States Senate, I voted to establish a day to honor Dr. Martin Luther King. And as president of Christopher Newport, I was pleased that we would close the school on that Monday so that we can all focus on the life and legacy of that great man. Moreover, we're also going to be closed on Election Day so that everyone can fully participate in the life of this great nation and contribute toward its future. Let me talk about academic affairs. First, I want to express my profound thanks to our faculty. Several of us met with the Faculty Senate, ably led by Dr. Tatiana Rizova, for 4 hours just prior to the start of classes this fall. Our purpose was to find a way that we could respond to the concerns of our faculty about well-being in this time of COVID-19, but also teach our classes in person. That's, of course, what makes Christopher Newport special and precious. And I'm pleased that we were able to fashion a plan that met those concerns and that is allowing us to teach almost 70% of our classes in person this fall. That's the way we do it at Christopher Newport. That's what makes this place special and distinctive and precious. And I'm very, very grateful. I'm also pleased to report that we've successfully launched our new master's program in financial analysis. This program will enrich the offerings of our Luder School of Business, and it will serve well our students that want to pursue careers in accounting and the financial services world. In our approval by the State Council of Higher Education, it was projected that we'd have a starting class of 13 students. This year, we have a starting class of 20. The program is off to a wonderful start. And my thanks to our faculty and to our students and to everyone involved in shaping that program. Finally, I'm pleased to report that we just submitted our first year report to the Commonwealth of Virginia on the Tech Talent Program. That's also known as the Amazon Initiative. As you'll recall, Christopher Newport was the only non-doctoral chosen to participate in that program by the Commonwealth of Virginia. And the agreement was this, that over 2 decades, we would produce 400 additional graduates in computer science, computer engineering, and related fields. And in turn, the Commonwealth of Virginia would invest $15 million more in those programs to enrich those programs. Each year, we have to report on how we're doing. And I'm pleased to report that we met and exceeded our goals for the first year. Those programs are underway and doing exciting things. Next, let me talk about athletics. Athletic competition is so important to this community. It provides life and energy and spirit, and also important learning opportunities for our students. There are important lessons to be learned beyond the classroom, and athletic competition provides those kinds of meaningful experiences. Regrettably, because of the virus, there'll be no fall or winter competition until December 31st. Our teams are permitted, however, to train and practice in groups not greater than 10, and they're doing this. My hope is that we can have a full calendar of athletic competition in 2021. Now, only time will tell. It will depend, of course, on the state of the COVID virus. It will also depend on decisions made by the NCAA and by our conference. But my hope is that we can proceed and that also the fall sports can play in the spring. So let's talk about fundraising. I would be a poor president if I didn't talk a bit about fundraising. Our goal for the last fiscal year was to raise $6 million in new pledges and cash. We finished at nearly $6.5 million, despite doing no overt fundraising by design for the last 3 months of the fiscal year. So let me start by saying thank you to an amazing faculty and staff, to our students, to our parents, to our alumni, and to the extraordinary friends of Christopher Newport. Part of our success was due to the overwhelming support we received on the first $1 million CNU Day on March 11th. Think about that, March 11th. How fortunate we were, because just days after that, the whole world shut down. Over 95% of our faculty and staff contributed to our annual campaign. A remarkable showing of support from folks who are already working so hard to make this place successful. Additionally, major support for our new Fine Arts Center and significant new scholarship dollars, always our highest priority, helped us exceed our $6 million goal. So what about this year? Well, our goal this year is a bit more modest, $4 million, reflecting the times. But already major gift discussions are underway for the new Fine Arts Center, for scholarships, for athletics, for community captains, and for the Wassam Center. Already 100 families have joined the President's Parent Council, and I'm so grateful for the support that we receive from parents. You know, unlike the schools that we compete with, schools that have been around for hundreds of years, that have billion-dollar endowments, that have generations of alumni, we're a young, vibrant university. We're building all of those things. And I tell my colleagues, look, give me 100 years and we'll have an endowment that size. But in the meantime, we have to rely on every member of this university community, and parents play a very important role, not only in sharing their sons and daughters, but in also helping us provide the dollars that we need to provide that margin of excellence to make Christopher Newport truly special. To date, we've received over $1 million, putting us well ahead of where we were last year. So we're off to a good start, and we thank you. Finally, let me tell you about an exciting new scholarship at Christopher Newport, the Inclusive Excellence Scholarship. This scholarship stems from a challenge issued to colleges everywhere at the funeral services for George Floyd. The challenge was to establish undergraduate scholarships to honor Mr. Floyd and to contribute to the educational promise of aspiring young Black Americans. Dr. Lisa Spiller, a distinguished professor at Christopher Newport, generously created the scholarship for full-time undergraduate students who come from underrepresented groups. And I hope many of us will be able to join Dr. Spiller in building funds that will enrich and empower the lives of our students for generations to come. So as you can tell, there's a lot happening on this campus. A marvelous faculty and staff that sprints from the crack of dawn to late at night, is working very hard to minimize the risk of COVID-19, to instruct and inspire our students, and to create, even in this crazy year, a marvelous experience for our students in the classroom and beyond. So to all of you, let me say thank you, thank you, thank you. Go Captains.